So imagine that maybe instead of a Sky Zone, you're a plumber. And there's things that you know about plumbing, about pipes, about toilets, about gas lines that only you would know, that technicians who work for you would know. We have seen this work in every type of local business. Don't think like Ben's advice is just for trampoline parks. There's this girl, Mia, who works for Jeremy, who has a restoration company. So what a restoration company does is there's a fire or a flood or mold or some kind of like damage, and then they have to come in and clean everything up, right? And then submit claims to the insurance company. So there's all this process on like, how do you test for the mold? And how do you do, if there's a flood, how do you figure out like what's safe and what, I don't even understand how this works, but there's a whole process that only the technicians who come into those restoration companies, for example, would know what to do. And thus Mia, who has no digital marketing experience, kind of like when Ben first started, is doing a great job for restoration companies because her daddy owns a restoration company and she's been to the different job sites and seen how they operate. She knows from within the business how it works. Or Danny Liebrandt, who you met, he focused on pest control. And so for the last year, Danny Liebrandt, whose company is pestcontrolseo.com, has just been working on pest control. How much do you think he's learned about pest control in the last year? Like he knows the difference between an Asian cockroach versus an American cockroach, and somehow they're different cockroaches and you treat them differently. Like, I don't know, I thought a cockroach was a cockroach, right? But he knows all the specifics about ants and bugs and pigeons and mice and all these sorts of things, right? And that can only come when an agency specializes. So what would happen, Ben, if you decided that you were going to be a digital marketer in Springfield, Illinois, and you would take real estate agents and pest control companies and plumbers and Italian restaurants and all kinds of businesses in Springfield? What would happen?
I've tried doing that before, and it's very difficult to bounce around from vertical to vertical. It's much easier just to focus on one vertical, learn a lot of techniques and ways to optimize things and make things as efficient as possible, and then spread that. So in addition to working with Sky Zone, I do also work for a couple of independent family entertainment center brands, and so we take a lot of what's worked at Sky Zone and apply it to the other independent brands. And one of those brands is actually in corporate and franchise development and is having a lot of success with their existing locations, and I think in a couple of years is going to have over 100 locations.
And so that works because you stayed in the same industry of kids that are having fun and parties. So whether it's slides or trampolines, it's in the same category, right? It's the same knowledge. You're not moving into orthodontics or something like that.